I watch it with my kids. I just watched it the other day with my stepkids. I'm married now. I have two stepkids and they'd never seen it. And I was more than happy to do it because, as Ike said, Little House on the Prairie at the time was one of the shows that everybody apart from just the popularity of it, everybody wanted to work on it.
For millions of viewers, Little House on the Prairie was a heartwarming story about family, faith, and life on the American frontier. But behind the wholesome image was a world filled with strange secrets, unexpected drama, and bizarre behind-the-scenes stories that most fans never heard about. From cast feuds and dangerous filming accidents to hidden details that slipped past audiences for years, the truth is often stranger than fiction. So, join us in this video as we uncover 30 weird facts you probably never knew about Little House on the Prairie. Some are surprising, some are shocking, and a few are almost impossible to believe. Number 30. The Revenge That Blew Up Walnut Grove. Most TV shows end with a farewell episode. Little House on the Prairie ended with something far more shocking. After nearly 10 years on the air, the series quietly disappeared from NBC's fall schedule. There was no meeting, no warning, and no official phone call. Michael Landon, who had spent years writing, directing, producing, and starring in the show, learned about the cancellation the same way viewers did, by looking at the network lineup and realizing Little House was gone. According to Melissa Gilbert, who played Laura Ingalls, Landon felt deeply hurt by the way NBC handled it. After dedicating so many years not only to Little House but also to Bonanza, he believed the network owed him at least a conversation. Instead, Landon found a memorable way to respond. While working on the final television movie, he decided Walnut Grove would not simply fade away. The town would be destroyed. Buildings were packed with explosives, the cast gathered to watch, and cameras rolled as the entire town was blown apart. Producer Kent McCrae later explained that destroying the sets would also make cleanup easier. But for Landon, it was something more, a final goodbye mixed with a little revenge. Keep watching to know more weird facts you didn't know about Little House on the Prairie. Number 29. The Hidden Yellow Brick Road Beneath Walnut Grove. In 1979, Little House on the Prairie moved its production from Paramount Studios to MGM's enormous Stage 15. As crews prepared to rebuild familiar sets like the Ingalls cabin, the schoolhouse, and Olson's Mercantile, they uncovered something completely unexpected beneath the old flooring. Painted on the stage floor were faint yellow bricks. Not just any yellow bricks, either. According to cast members, there were remnants of the famous yellow brick road from the 1939 classic The Wizard of Oz, still visible nearly 40 years later. Melissa Gilbert and Alison Ongrim were thrilled. Ongrim later recalled that the two of them immediately began singing, dancing, and pretending to be Dorothy as they stood on a genuine piece of movie history. The discovery became even more remarkable because of a strange coincidence. Number 28. The Little House Conversation That Changed Sports Forever. Some of the strangest Little House on the Prairie facts happened far away from the cameras. In this case, a casual conversation on set helped change the way millions of people watch sports today. During a break from filming in Simi Valley, two men were chatting between takes. One was Garrett Brown, the inventor of the Steadicam. The other was Merlin Olsen, the former NFL star who had become a regular face on the series. As they talked, Olsen mentioned something that had always bothered him about football broadcasts. The cameras never captured the true speed and movement of the game. Fans could watch the action, but they couldn't really feel it. The idea stuck with Brown. After hearing Olsen's thoughts, he began thinking about a camera system that could move freely above the field. Eventually, he developed a floating camera suspended by cables that could travel in any direction and rotate completely around the action. That invention became Skycam. But in France, how did Nellie Olsen become fans' favorite? Stay tuned to find out. Number 27. France's surprising obsession with Nellie Olsen. In the United States, Nellie Olsen was the character fans loved to hate. But in France, the story turned out very differently. Little House on the Prairie became a huge success there and has been rebroadcast so many times that it is considered a television institution. While American viewers often saw Laura Ingalls as the heart of the series, French audiences fell in love with Nellie instead. Alison Ongrim first realized something unusual was happening when fan mail began arriving from France in large numbers. Then, during a visit in 2002, she discovered just how popular she had become. Fans greeted her like a celebrity, stopping her everywhere she went and showering her with attention. What Americans viewed as Nellie's spoiled and troublesome behavior, French audiences found hilarious and entertaining. Rather than seeing her as the villain, they embraced her as one of the show's most memorable characters. Ongrim fully embraced her unexpected fame. She even created a one-woman stage show, Confessions of a Prairie Bitch, which she has performed in French for enthusiastic audiences across the country. Number 26. The accidental fall everyone remembers. When people think of Little House on the Prairie, one image often comes to mind before anything else. It's not a dramatic scene or an emotional goodbye. It's little Carrie Ingalls running through a field of wildflowers in the opening credits and suddenly tumbling to the ground. What makes that moment so special is that it was never planned. The fall wasn't written into the script, and nobody asked her to do it. Carrie, played by a 3-year-old child, simply tripped while running down the hill. The cameras happened to catch it, and the crew watched the unexpected moment unfold. Most television productions would have stopped and filmed the scene again. But Michael Landon saw something different. As the show's star, director, writer, and producer, he had the power to reshoot it. Instead, he chose to keep it exactly as it happened. That tiny stumble felt real, honest, and perfectly matched the spirit of the series. What started as a simple accident became one of the most beloved images in television history and an unforgettable symbol of Little House on the Prairie. What was really happening behind the scenes at Walnut Grove? Let's find out. Number 25. The brutal heat behind Walnut Grove. Little House on the Prairie looked peaceful on screen, but filming it was often anything but comfortable. Much of the series was shot at Big Sky Ranch in Simi Valley, where summer temperatures regularly climbed above 100 degrees. While viewers saw beautiful fields and sunny landscapes, the cast had to endure those conditions while wearing heavy pioneer clothing. The women had it especially rough. Their costumes were made from thick fabrics and included multiple layers, long skirts, and petticoats that trapped heat. Karen Grassel later recalled that her feet felt like they were boiling inside her custom-made boots. The younger cast members struggled as well. Melissa Gilbert spent long days wearing stockings and several layers of clothing in extreme temperatures. The heat became so intense that fainting spells were not uncommon. Alison Ongrim was one of the actors most affected. She became known for occasionally passing out during filming, but some crew members dismissed it as a young actress being overly sensitive to the heat. That attitude changed after another young performer collapsed. Sean Penn, who appeared as an uncredited extra in the first season episode The Voice of Tinker Jones, reportedly passed out on set and had to be taken away for the rest of the day. Only then did the crew fully recognize how serious the conditions were. Better hydration and heat safety measures soon followed. It took a very public collapse to make the point, but it finally convinced everyone that authenticity wasn't worth risking the health of the cast. Number 24. Nellie's most terrifying scene was real. One of the most unforgettable moments in Little House on the Prairie features Nellie Oleson racing down a steep hill in a wheelchair after being pushed by Laura. The fear on Nellie's face looks completely real, and that's because it was. Alison Ongrim, who played Nellie, had already broken her wrist in a skateboarding accident before filming the scene. She arrived on set wearing a cast and dealing with constant pain. Things got even worse once filming began. Partway down the hill, she learned that the safety rope attached to the wheelchair had snapped. Suddenly, she was speeding downhill with no backup plan and no way to stop. Dressed in heavy period clothing under the hot California sun, Ongrim's screams weren't acting at all. They were completely genuine. What viewers saw was a frightened young actress facing a very real situation, and it became one of the show's most memorable scenes. Keep watching to find out more weird facts you didn't know. Number 23. The Mystery of Purple Pa. Michael Landon looked every bit the rugged frontier father on Little House on the Prairie. But behind the scenes, he was dealing with a problem that sometimes turned Charles Ingalls into an accidental fashion icon. Landon began going gray in his early 20s and spent years coloring his hair. Rather than relying on professional stylists, He preferred using a store-bought hair dye himself. Most of the time, it worked perfectly. Then the California sun got involved. During long days of filming at Simi Valley, the intense heat and ultraviolet rays would react with the dye in unexpected ways. As the day went on, Landon's dark brown hair could begin taking on a noticeable purple or lavender tint. Whenever the color shift became visible on camera, production had to pause. Makeup artists would rush in with powders, sprays, and touch-up products to hide the growing purple glow before filming could continue. The cast found the situation hilarious. Karen Grossel later remembered it as one of Landon's most charming quirks. Over time, the phenomenon became so well-known around the set that Landon owned an unforgettable nickname, Purple Pa. Number 22. The secret reason Charles Ingalls was always injured. Michael Landon wasn't just the star of Little House on the Prairie. He was also a writer, director, and executive producer, giving him an unusual amount of control over nearly every part of the show. And according to people who worked on the series, he sometimes used that control in amusing ways. Fans may have noticed that Charles Ingalls seemed to suffer a lot of injuries over the years. Whether it was a fall, an accident, or some frontier mishap, many of those storylines had one thing in common. They usually ended with Pa needing medical treatment that required him to take off his shirt. Members of the production team later revealed that these moments were often written that way on purpose. Landon, who was widely considered one of television's heartthrobs at the time, knew exactly how he looked on camera. Karen Grossel, who played Caroline Ingalls, later said that Landon was very aware of his appearance. Looking back, that may explain why so many of Charles' injuries seemed to lead to shirtless recovery scenes. What really fed the Ingalls family at the Prairie table? Stay tuned to find out. Number 21. The Prairie meals that came from the grocery store. The meals on Little House on the Prairie looked like they came straight from a hard-working frontier kitchen. But behind the scenes, the food was much less authentic than viewers imagined. Filming in the intense Simi Valley heat created a problem. Real homemade meals spoiled quickly, and many foods simply couldn't survive long hours under studio lights while being filmed over multiple takes. To solve the issue, the prop department relied on a few dependable shortcuts. Whenever a scene called for a pot of hearty stew, rabbit, or some other pioneer-style meal, there was a good chance it was actually condensing more beef stew. It was easy to reheat, looked consistent from take to take, and appeared convincing on camera. The fried chicken was even less of a secret. Instead of making it from scratch, the production often brought in buckets of Kentucky Fried Chicken. Melissa Gilbert later admitted that the cast happily enjoyed the leftovers after filming. Number 20. The Carrie Ingalls secret viewers never noticed. Most fans remember Carrie Ingalls as the youngest daughter of the Ingalls family. What many never realized is that Carrie was actually played by two actresses throughout the series. The role was shared by identical twins Lindsay and Sydney Greenbush, who were cast when they were just 3 years old. The reason was simple. Child labor laws limited how long young children could work on set. By using twins, the production could film for longer periods while staying within the rules. The sisters looked so alike that the crew could switch them at any time without viewers noticing. Sometimes the change happened between scenes. Other times, it happened within the same episode. Number 19. Laura and Nellie's secret friendship. On Little House on the Prairie, Laura Ingalls and Nellie Oleson seemed like sworn enemies. Whether they were trading insults, pulling hair, or getting into another famous fight, they looked like two girls who couldn't stand each other. Off camera, the truth was completely different. Melissa Gilbert and Allison Ongrim quickly became close friends during filming. Spending long days in heavy wool costumes under the hot Simi Valley sun gave them plenty to bond over. Before long, they were inseparable. According to Ongrim, their friendship became a survival tool. Between scenes, they shared jokes, talked about crushes, and helped each other deal with the pressures of growing up on a television set. They also became known for their sense of humor. The two loved playing pranks and finding ways to make long filming days more entertaining. What was the truth about Charles Ingalls' height? Keep watching to find out. Number 18. The height trick behind Charles Ingalls. On Little House on the Prairie, Michael Landon always seemed larger than life. As Charles Ingalls, he appeared strong, confident, and commanding in nearly every scene. But behind the camera, a few clever tricks helped create that image. Landon was about 5 feet 9 inches tall, a perfectly normal height. Still, television often relies on visual illusions, and Landon was reportedly happy to use them. According to several accounts from people connected to the show, he wore custom-made boots that added several inches to his height. And when extra help was needed, the production team got creative. For outdoor scenes, Landon was often placed on small hills, stairways, ladders, or carefully built mounds of dirt before filming began. The result was that he appeared taller than many of the actors around him. So while Charles Ingalls looked like the towering patriarch of the prairie, part of that image came from some clever camera work, a few raised platforms, and a very tall pair of boots. Number 17. Nellie's curls were a real nightmare. Nellie Olson's famous blonde curls became one of the most recognizable looks on Little House on the Prairie. But for Alison Arngrim, wearing them was far from glamorous. At first, the production tried using her natural hair. Unfortunately, it wouldn't hold the tight curls needed for Nellie's signature style, especially during long days in the Simi Valley heat. Stylists spent hours curling her hair, only to watch it fall flat. The solution was a custom wig. In fact, several wigs were made so the hairstyle would look exactly the same in every episode, including special versions for messy stunt scenes. The real problem was how the wig was attached. Metal combs and countless bobby pins held it in place, digging into Arngrim's scalp all day. The pressure and heat often left her in pain, and sometimes even caused bleeding. Keep watching to find out more weird facts. Number 16. The future Oscar winner hidden in Walnut Grove. One of the strangest hidden details in Little House on the Prairie involves a future Hollywood legend. If you look closely at some early Season 1 episodes, you might spot a young schoolyard extra among the children of Walnut Grove. He had no speaking lines, no special attention from the camera, and no credit that stood out. His name was Sean Penn years before becoming one of Hollywood's most respected actors and winning Academy Awards for Mystic River and Milk. Penn was just another teenager doing background work on the set. At the time, nobody knew what his future would hold, and his brief appearance went unnoticed for years. But that's not the only surprising connection tied to the show. The ranch where Little House on the Prairie was filmed has appeared in an incredible range of productions. The same date Roads and Rolling Hills later showed up in Men in Black, Coming to America, the first Transformers film, and even parts of Twin Peaks. Number 15. Michael Landon's most talked about on-set habit. Michael Landon played the humble and hard-working Charles Ingalls, but behind the scenes he had a reputation for doing things his own way. According to several cast members, one of his most unusual habits was filming without wearing underwear beneath his costume. Landon was known for taking pride in his appearance and worked hard to stay in excellent shape. Whether he was filming shirtless farm scenes or wearing fitted frontier clothing, he liked projecting the image of a rugged leading man. His wardrobe choice became a running joke among the cast and crew. Karen Grassel later recalled that it occasionally made certain scenes a little awkward for his co-stars. It was a quirky detail that perfectly matched Landon's confident and playful personality, showing there was often a very different man behind Walnut Grove's beloved Pa Ingalls. What ending did Michael Landon believe the show deserved? Let's find out.